Okay. The Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajna Paramita, perceives that all five skandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. O Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear nor disappear, are not tainted nor pure, do not increase or decrease. There is emptiness, no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and no forth until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment. With nothing to attain, the Bodhisattva depends on Prajna Paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, the Bodhisattva dwells in Nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on Prajna Paramita and attain unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Therefore, know the Prajna Paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the Prajna Paramita mantra. Proclaim the mantra that says, Gade Gade, Para Gade, Parasam Gade, Bodhe Swaha. Okay, so we resume with the Heart Sutra. So Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra is being divided into 9 sections. So we have studied the first 3, right? First 3, all the Dharmas are empty. So that was the last talk before I left for the Dharma teaching trip. So looking at the paragraph, we know. So this one, the first one here, can you see? I think is the TV tilted too much over there? You can hardly see from there. Maybe you should actually tilt a little bit. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, okay. Get a chair. Yeah. So we studied this one, the title and the roadmap for a peaceful life. That's the title of the sutra, and then the first paragraph, which is actually the main trunk, the essence of the whole sutra, is the eradication of all suffering. Okay. So and then we've done this second paragraph also before I left for the China trip. It tells us, it tells us all the dharmas are empty. All dharmas are sunyata. So when we look at this one here, that which is form is emptiness, that which is emptiness is form. So before I left, we actually studied this whole paragraph. And the whole paragraph, actually the very important two paragraphs that we actually have to bear in mind constantly while we are still in this mundane this mundane life, this life, is that which is formed is emptiness. These two lines. This actually teaches us how to live our lives, having this in the back of our minds, so that we constantly remind ourselves, everything that I experience, everything that I go through, all people that I meet, every situation that I'm in, is what? Is dependent origination. Everything is dependent, arising, passing, dependent on all conditions. If we do bear in mind of this all the time when we live this life, whether it's pleasant situations, whether it's unpleasant situation, a lot of time we would just act out right away, right? So, but if we bear in mind this, we constantly recall this teaching in this Heart Sutra. From this Heart Sutra, we constantly recall it. Then at that moment, you actually remind yourself, hey, this is dependent origination. There must be a reason, there must be a cause from the past that actually brings such consequence right now that I'm experiencing right now. Whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, whether it's nice people or not nice people, whether it's, things that I like or things that I don't like, it doesn't matter. Okay. But if you keep on recalling this teaching from the deeper part of your mind all the time, that's what I said during the meditation, is you are able to recall. Then you'll be able to use. Otherwise, you're just listening to the Dharma and you're not able to use it because you don't recall. You can't remember. And you keep what? Diving back into the old habit pattern of reaction. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not aware. Or I really don't know why. How can you not know why? We all should know why. Right? If being such a seasoned meditator and people ask you why, and you say, I don't know. There's something wrong with your practice. Really something wrong with your practice. There's always a reason in the back of your mind. But whether you are able to admit it, you're able to acknowledge and admit it to yourself first, and then you can admit it in front of others, then you're on that path, proper path. But if you don't even know that, I don't know why, I don't know. So it's really try not to use this phrase in your life. I don't know. I tell you, sooner or later you really wouldn't know. Because you get used to feed your mind with I don't know. So what you can recall is I don't know. Because your reservoir, your mind is completely filled with I don't know. So what is the most obvious to be picked up from that big reservoir? I don't know. Then that's a big problem. So I have a student who used to say, so what do you want to do? I don't know. So how do you want to go about your life? I don't know. Really? You're so young and you don't know? No, I don't know. I don't know. And then he called me just a little while ago, and he got into trouble. And I said, why did you get into this trouble? I don't know. I said, really? You don't know? Well, ask yourself. Why? Why do you not admit it yourself? I said, you don't have to admit it to me. I don't need to know. But you have to admit it to yourself. If you don't admit it to yourself this time, next time happens again, you get double the work to do. You know what I mean? Because in order to admit it, you have to overcome the obstacle that you have already put in from the last time that you did not admit it, right? So you've got two hurdles to cross. But if you admit it this time, even to yourself, really, I know, but I just want to save my face, and I don't want to know. I don't want to admit it. That's okay. Next time, when people ask you, why do you do this? Do you know why? Then you want to say, and then you say, I know. Rather than, I don't know. So that's a habit. That's the habit that you build into that big reservoir of so many different habits. So that which is form is emptiness, is sunnata. It's actually telling us to recall this teaching all the time, because you see, everything that we bump into, we encounter, is a lot of start with form first, right? The ear hears sound, and the eye see color, and that is all come to with connection with this physical body. So please bear in mind this line, very important line. And then the next line is that which is emptiness is form. Then we know what are sentient beings. Sentient beings are different forms, right? A dog is a sentient being, and it's a different form. We are sentient beings. We are different forms, and with our human beings form, we are all different. You've got white hair. I have got black hair. You've got blue eyes. I've got brown eyes. Those are all different forms. So if we bear in mind also knowing that, well, yes, apparently we are existing like different people, but we are definitely what? If we don't understand this, then we will think, we'll start to have this discriminating mindset. You see, she's better looking, and that is not very good looking. You see, this face is showing they are really understanding my teaching. That face is very ignorant and don't understand. Am I doing it right? Or he's so bored or whatever. Then you start to discriminate. But when you understand this, that which is emptiness, is form, is that every sentient being is sunnata, is all conditioned, and we should not discriminate, and we should have compassion for all beings. Okay? So whether it's different form, whether it's the same form, doesn't matter. We still have to cultivate that kind of compassion for different beings. Okay? So that's the whole more teachings of the third paragraph. Now today we're looking at this paragraph. The real truth, that means the real the truth of existence. O Shariputra, all Dharmas are marked with emptiness, and they do not appear nor disappear. I really don't like this translation very much. Appear nor disappear, are not tainted nor pure, do not increase nor decrease. These are actually very confusing words, but it's okay. We could try to understand it. Okay. So this whole paragraph, it started off with O Shariputra. That means the Buddha said, what I have said just now I have finished. Now we're going on to a different chapter. Is it really a different chapter? No. But it's actually arousing Shariputra. Pay attention. I'm going to teach more again. Okay? So we're going into a different discussion or issues. So here the Buddha said that the nature of existence of all worldly dharmas is also marked with emptiness, is marked with suffering, is marked with no self. Okay, so but of course different scholars will see all these paragraphs one from different point of view, but all in all, they all talk about sunnata. Okay, there's nothing else that they would talk about. Okay, so it's Shariputra, all Dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear nor disappear. And they are not tainted nor pure. And they do not increase or decrease. So, let us look at each of them individually. So this is the whole paragraph. I say that this is the real truth. And they do not appear nor disappear. So this is actually talking about the existence of all phenomena. Okay, how they exist, how things, people, inanimate things appear. For all Dharma which exists, you want to use Dharma, you want to use phenomena, you want to use people, you want to use situations, or you want to use inanimate things, it really doesn't matter. But Dharma is the one general whole term to actually encompass everything, including phenomena, including people, including situations. Okay, so he says, for all Dharma which exists, actually they exist in what? They exist in a form that do not appear nor disappear. But Rapine said, Rapine used a different term. I can't remember what does he use. Oh, darn, never mind. But for all Dharma which exists, we can look at them from 4 different stages. Okay. The first stage is they arise, they appear from nothing, or from being nothing. There's non-existence, and then it comes into being. Okay, so after it arises, what does it do? It changes. And when it changes, it stays on, right? So that's the second stage, it stays on. When it stays on, it starts to change while it's existing. No matter how fleeting that staying on is, but it's still changing, right? So those are 3 stages already. You got it? You got it? No?
I think so.
You look very so. When it stays while arising, it comes into being. Okay? And then it stays on. When it stays on, simultaneously, it actually is changing. Yeah? When it, after it's staying on for some time, what does it do? Goes away, disappear, passes on. Okay, so that's the four stages. So it goes away. That means it actually discontinues its existence. Right? Its own existence discontinued. Let us take a breath. When we take a breath, it comes up, the incoming breath. So we notice that there's incoming breath coming up, coming in. So we know if we are taking the breath in, we are still taking the breath in, so it's staying. The incoming breath is staying on. But when the incoming breath is staying on, it also what? It also changes. Right? So, and after we can only take that much breath in. We have to breathe it out. Otherwise we will suffocate, right? So when that incoming breath is completed, ends, so it passes on. It discontinues. Its existence, being an incoming breath, discontinues. And then what happens? There is I don't know whether you noticed that, there is actually a very minute gap between an incoming breath and the outgoing breath. It's very small, that gap. And then you start to breathe out. So it's the arising of the outgoing breath. And then the outgoing breath continues. But when it is continuing, the ongoing breath is actually changing. Okay. And then you go. You breathe out. Okay, no more incoming breath. Outgoing breath. Finish. Right? So that's what it means by appearing and disappearing. Okay. So how long is that one arising and one passing?
Depends.
course it depends. It depends on what kind of life you're looking at. Right? So how long is it between one appearing and one disappearing, or appearance and disappearing? So it depends. As you say, you can call it. Well, there is an appearing and disappearing. We call it a one lifetime. Yeah. As long as one lifetime, and this one lifetime, it really depends on how long your life is. So what some people, the lifetime could be a minute, 2 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and some people could be 30 years, and some people could be 110, 120. So that is one appearance and one disappearing in between one lifetime. And then there is called the momentary existence. The momentary existence is, it comes, it goes, it comes, it goes, it comes, it goes. You experience that with your meditation, especially when you are actually feeling the sensations in the body, right? The sensations is just boom, gone, boom, gone. And sometimes the sensation, the arising or the appearing and the disappearing of the sensations is so close together, you think it's the one sensation. But because the mind is not subtle enough to actually see the arising and passing, the arising and passing. So you think it's a stream of sensations that's happening. No, it can't be. It definitely cannot be. It's different sensations arising fast. But that arising and passing is so fast. With a very gross mind, you can never experience that. Okay? So that's the momentary existence. And then there will be this infinite existence. So what do you mean by this infinite existence? Infinite, right? So infinite. So remember we talked about, that was a long time ago. When we read the book in the Buddha's word by Bhikkhu Bodhi, in the Nikaya there is a sutta. Can't remember the sutta's name, but remember there's infinite passing, infinite past, and infinite future. And you tie up branches in the forest, 4 or 5 into the twigs into one branch, and you call this is me, and this is my mom, and this is my grandmom, this is my grandmom, this is my great-grandmom. Go. You exhaust all the twigs in the forest, and you still cannot trace back to that origin of the arising of your mother or of yourself. So we call this the infinite life. Infinite life, infinite past continues to the infinite future, right? So just like the oceans, in the ocean, the waves in the ocean or the big river, you see the waves come and go. That's infinite. As long as the ocean is there, it's infinite. But you can also see in the ocean there is momentary existence of a wave, right? So it depends on how you look at it. So we always think that this arising or this appearing and this disappearing is so real. When we think about appearing or arising, we mistaking it that it is me arising. This is myself arising. And we can control this appearing ourselves. But actually, can we control? No, we can't. And some people feel that everything arises because it's accidental, without any real reasons. Do you think so?
Oh, good. Well, yes, you've been here long enough to actually say no. Yeah. So, of course, nothing is accidental, right? Nothing is accidental. Nothing is weak. Well, no matter how much we want to control, there's only that much fraction that we can control. And for most of it, is out of our own control. Okay? So, why do you think you are here? Karma, yeah. This past cause and effect, right? This infinite past and this infinite past causes that bring us to here. And what we are doing now is actually planting the infinite causes for the future. So if we feel that everything arises by itself or accidental, that means we are looking at this life as if it is independently existing. But it is not, right? It is not. So, yes, it has appeared, and there is a real self existing and truly appearing? No. It's just all conditioned, right? Because the Buddha said nothing arises or appears out of nowhere or independently by itself, without any causes, without any reasons, without any past causes. Everything arises because of conditions, and they appear, they disappear also because of conditions, right? So therefore the Buddha said, when the conditions come together, then appearing or arising happens. When the conditions disappear or dissipate, what happens? Then disappearing happens, right? I'm not expecting big answers. Please give me simple answers. So disappearing or passing happens. So therefore we have to look at it from the angle of conditioning. We have to look at it from the angle of dependent origination. So it is really not appearing or disappearing. It is only conditioned. But we have this misconception that something is really appearing because of itself appearing. No, it depends on conditions. It's the conditions that come about to make it seems to be appearing. But it all depends on the conditions. That's the apparent truth, that it is existing right now, but it's conditioned. It's conditionally existing. Okay? So therefore when for example, like this stick here, when the conditions are here, we see this stick as this stick. Right? There's this ball, and then there's this stick, and there's this paint and the glue and the wood and everything. So we trace back this stick to its origin. We can't. The origin has a lot of things in it, right? So is this stick appearing? That is the apparent truth, that this stick is a stick right now. This is a form. This is only a form. A form becomes a form because of all conditions. Okay, so this stick is actually neither appearing nor disappearing. It stays here because of all conditions. It doesn't stay here also because conditions disappear. If there is no glue, if there is no such form, we wouldn't call it a stick. But where is the stick? Then the ball becomes the stick, or this shape becomes a stick. We call this is called a stick because there is a ball, there's this thing, and we call it a stick. But without it, what do we call it? We call it nothing. So the stick had disappeared. The stick has disappeared. Has it really disappeared? It hasn't disappeared. But yet it has disappeared because all the conditions are not here to make it to become a shape like this. It only appears to be like this when all the conditions are here. Appears to be like this. So it doesn't really have its own inherent self. Yeah? So is it okay? Let us say. Let us look at another example. Maybe you will understand it a bit more. Or you really don't understand? Or do you understand?
I get it.
You want me to give you another example? Okay.
Example. It's like maybe a table. If you take the legs away, then it's just a flat piece of wood.
Yeah.
It's no longer a table.
Yeah. So the table is, but neither is disappearing or appearing. Okay. Let us take another. Let's take another example. The lake. All right. The lake. There's a moon there.
A moon?
A moon
Yeah.
in the lake.
Okay.
On the lake. The reflection.
Yeah.
You can call the reflection of the moon. But if the lake, on the surface of the lake, there are a lot of driftwoods, a lot of leaves, rotten leaves, then you will see the moon with a lot of driftwoods, with a lot of leaves on the surface. Is the moon tainted or not? Has the moon appeared? It has. But, if you go to another river where the direction is not there, direction of the moon, you cannot see the moon. But is the moon still there in the sky? But it hasn't appeared in that particular river. So do you say that the moon has disappeared? The moon has not appeared in that particular river. It hasn't disappeared yet, as also. It's because it's still in the sky. It's just that its reflection hasn't appeared in that particular river because of the direction, of the direction of the place. Understand?
Sifu, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So are you talking about, not just about the conditions that come to form something, but also about the perceptions that are required, our perception required to see it in that way, like the river or the lake is required to see the reflection of the moon?
Of course, it's conditions. Those are one of the conditions that allow you to see the reflection of the moon. Without the river, without the water, you cannot see. Even the moon is up there. You cannot see it, right? If there is a high mountain right there, you cannot see the moon reflection in the river, but the moon is still up there. So the lake can hold the shadow of the moon because the water has its own nature of sunyata. Because the river doesn't discriminate against the moon. Anything you shine on it, it shines. It reflects. So that means like the Mother's Earth is empty. Has this nature, has this emptiness nature. You put anything in it, it will hold it. Right? We stand on it, you cushions sit on it, tables sit on it, trees grow on it, mountains sit on it, flowers grow in it. You can call the Mother's Earth is sunyata. Everything appears, everything disappears from this Mother's Earth because of conditions. That's better analogy, that Mother's Earth. Understand? You read it more, then you will understand. Okay? So remember that appearing and disappearing actually depends on the conditions. So it's really the conditions that appear. It's not that particular thing appears. It's not this particular thing appears. It's the conditions that make this particular form appear or disappear. That's the truth of existence. Okay? That's the truth of existence. Got it? Okay. We go on? Yeah. So then the second one is not tainted nor pure. So this, we are actually looking at the characteristics and the nature of existence, the characteristics of this existence. So all phenomena, situation, etc., they arise because of conditions. And conditions, there is no absolute tainted conditions or pure conditions. Why? Because the purity or the taint is actually a worldly view of us, from us to view this nature of things. It's our what? Discrimination. It's our judgment. This, because okay, let me share with you an experience. We had last week, we had a conversation about some individual last week. And through this conversation, one person she told us that she was disturbed by the message that she actually saw, and apparently she was so hurt too, right? And then so we got into this situation, this conversation. At the end, I said, we have to look at it from this point of view: is why was this individual behaving like this? Without this karma, this individual, he or she, will not end up in this kind of situation. The karma itself, you can call, is actually an unwholesome karma. Or, if it is wholesome, then you can call it wholesome karma. Because we, as a person who has not been enlightened yet, we always judge by our worldly values. This is unwholesome, and this is wholesome, and this is correct, and this is incorrect, because we judge by this worldly value system. At the end of the day, we have to actually start looking deeper into that kind of situation. Yes, at this time, it's this unwholesome, we call by our worldly value system. These unwholesome actions has arisen, so this person has behaved in such a way. But we cannot say he or she is going to be like this infinitely. And we would just wish that no matter where he or she is right now, the company, the acquaintances that he or she is in with, hopefully will help him to grow, help him to overcome this tainted, we call tainted value that we have. And hopefully he will overcome this karma, and eventually we will call this, he becomes pure, or he becomes wholesome. Okay? So this tainted nor pure is actually we look at things, we starting to judge things right there, right on, when we start to see. It's very difficult not to judge, I agree. It's so difficult not to judge. But after judging, we have to recall the teachings from the enlightened ones, especially about this, not tainted nor pure, because deep down It's really not tainted nor pure. Deep down, because it's conditioned. Whether it's tainted nor pure, it's constantly changing. It's constantly changing. And we have to start to see from this, this is really not the real truth of all Dharma. Whether it's pure, whether it's tainted, it's not the real truth. Okay? A liberated person and a worldly being live in the same world, will encounter the same conditions, but they will see two things. They will see the things very differently in two extremes, really extreme. The liberated one would not see it tainted nor pure, but a worldly one will see either tainted or pure. Why? Because a worldly person is not liberated from its own judgments, and there are still value systems in there. Because a worldly person doesn't see dependent origination, doesn't see the deep reasons of why it is like this right now, right here. Okay? So, because when we don't see it this way, then we will start to judge. I remember, I would like to share with you a story. I remember when my Sifu got very sick. I think it was 95. He was 95. 96. I was in Hong Kong. He was not well, and then he asked me to stay on. I said, okay, I'll stay on for another month. So one day I went to see him. Well, I saw him every day at his residence. So one day I went up to see him, and he was having a dumpling, Chinese dumpling. He likes Chinese dumpling, and he put a lot of cilantro in it. He loves cilantro. I said, Sifu, you should not eat cilantro. And he said, why not? I said, cilantro has a lot of parasites. So much parasite. You cannot wash it off. You cannot kill it. Because I used to work in bacteriology lab, and we knew. We knew cilantro has a lot of parasite. And you cannot kill it, and you cannot wash it off. And he said, who put the cilantro? Who put the parasite in? You put them in. He put it in me. You put all the parasite in the cilantro. My cilantro doesn't have any parasite. Your cilantro has. And I looked at him. I still couldn't say anything. But when I started to understand more and more of the Dharma, I know. My mind is tainted by the bacteriology knowledge that I had. When I look at cilantro, I will see parasites. I did not see cilantro as cilantro. I only see parasite inside cilantro. Now I eat cilantro myself. So he was so blunt. Who put those parasites in? You put them in. And also, I think around that time, he had problem with digestion, and I said, and he likes those steam milk. Steam milk become curd. Yeah, when you steam milk, add ginger juice in, it become a curd. Okay, I said, Sifu, we as grown up people, we should not take any milk anymore. And you know what he said? Yes, you don't take, I take. I can digest, you cannot digest. I said, no, milk is bad for you. It takes away all your calcium, and it's bad for your bones. Yes, it's bad for your bones, but it's okay for my bones. Because of my judgment, my biased worldly view of milk and of cilantro. But whatever you're happy with, they will become healthy food for you. You don't have to go. You don't have to run after healthy food or unhealthy food. So if you are eating healthy food but with a really, really groggy mind, I mean, groggy, you wouldn't understand. What do you use that word? Like
Grouchy.
huh?
Grouchy.
Grouchy? Yeah.
Crouch.
Grouch. CROACH?
Or GROU. Grouch.
Oh, grouch. That means like
Angry.
not happy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you're eating the most healthiest food in the world, if you eat it with a grouchy mind, that food will become poison. If you're eating really rotten food, but you're so happy, that food will nourish you, no problem. Like the cilantro and the milk curd. Okay. So it is actually a concept that arises because of us, our own preference. Whether we like it, whether we don't like it, whether we have this value system in ourselves. So we will start to discriminate, and good or bad, beautiful, ugly, meaningful, not meaningful, healthy and not healthy, and clever and stupid, all those things. So we start to have this duality, right? And come on. Like I said, if a river is filled with driftwood and fallen leaves, and would it affect the reflection of the moon? Would the reflection of the moon be tainted by those leaves? It wouldn't, right? If you actually move those leaves away, the moon is still the moon. It's still a beautiful moon. But if the moon is in a very clean river, would the moon be really clean, cleansed by the river, by the clean water? It wouldn't. So would the moon become more pure because its reflection is on a clean river? It won't. It will be the way it is, right? So that's what it is. That's what it means. Are not tainted, not pure. So therefore, in every different situations, different people will have different feeling, different understanding, and different experiences. So we need to actually, a lot of times, when we start to judge or when we start to discriminate, try to look deeper into the reasons behind this appearing and disappearing, and this situation, and try to see it from that point of view, the arising and passing, and also nothing is painted or pure. Then you will start to actually helping yourself to actually cut down this kind of discrimination, that judgment. You become less judgmental, and that's how we can actually change. Okay, so it's our attitude it's our attitude that actually planted the way how we deal with these conditions. If these attitudes are not correct, if not they are not proper, if we don't look at it from that Dharma point of view, we always look at it from a mundane, worldly point of view, then we'll fall into those traps very easily. Okay, all right. So, do not increase or decrease. Okay, so, what is going on? There you go. Do not increase or decrease. So if this part is actually talking about the quantity of conditions, or the quantity of the Dharma. The Dharmas are marked with emptiness, it says, right? The Dharma are marked with emptiness, so there should be no quantity, right? Yeah. Well, there is a quantity, but the quantity doesn't decrease or increase. You look at the ocean. When the tide comes in, does the ocean grow bigger? You have more water in the ocean? Why? Why not? The tide comes in so high, there's no more water? No, I mean the water hasn't increased. The water volume hasn't increased. But what about when the tide goes out? Does the water, the volume of the water decreases? No? So neither increase nor decrease. It's just the way the correlation of the what? The water, the tide, because of the moon, right? It's because of the moon. So you look at the ocean and you know the water, the volume in the ocean doesn't increase nor decrease. For example, in Canada, so Alaska doesn't belong to Canada, right? So when Alaska was taken away, so the land that we call Canada has decreased. But the land itself hasn't decreased. The land itself is still there. But it's just the boundary of Canada has decreased because Alaska is not here. It doesn't belong to so-called Canada. But the land itself hasn't decreased. Right? So our Buddha nature doesn't decrease, nor even if we are worldly beings. If we are judgmental, if we perform unwholesome actions, our Buddha nature doesn't decrease. The Buddha nature doesn't increase if somebody become enlightened. An enlightened being has still got the same amount of Buddha nature. It neither decreases nor increases. Isn't that optimistic? It's one thing that is so optimistic, right? So when we become enlightened and attain the Buddhahood, the Buddha nature doesn't increase. It doesn't get polluted. The Buddha nature doesn't get polluted if we are in the worldly existence, because you cannot pollute the Buddha nature. You can pollute your mind right now, but you cannot pollute the Buddha nature. And it doesn't get more purified when you attain enlightenment. Okay? So, because it is neither tainted nor increased, it doesn't increase or decrease. It's just that because of conditions, it hasn't arisen. Because of conditions, it just passed away. So, that's the whole difference between a saintly being and a worldly being. It's whether one is wise, whether one has attained enlightenment, whether one is awakened or not. That's the whole difference between a worldly being and an unworldly being, or a saintly being. So you could be a saintly being any time in your life. When you start to judge a situation and you recall the teachings of the Buddha and you start to apply into it, you're walking towards that sainthood. But if you cannot recall and you forget, and then you start to act out through your own old habits, then you're walking towards that worldly being, more worldly being existence. Okay, so that is actually a path. That is a path that Avalokiteshvara said. This is a Bodhisattva path. Okay, so these three phenomena, or these three characteristics, appear or disappear, tainted or pure, increase or decrease, is the truth pertaining to the existence of all Dharma. And also, this is also the basic appearance. So this in Red Pine, the book of Hot Sutra, he brought up Ching Chu. What Ching Chu said, what does not exist earlier but exists now is said to be born, like appearing, right? Appearing. Right? Non-existing, and then it becomes existing. Then we call it being born, like a baby. Okay? So what already exists but then does not exist, we call it being destroyed. Oh yeah, Red Pine said, yeah, birth and destruction. Okay, so what already exists but then does not exist is said to be destroyed. So if this stick, I take out the round part and we call this stick is being destroyed. We put it back, the stick is reborn again. Okay? Alright, then he said the assembly of causes and conditions does not result in birth, and the dispersal of causes and conditions does not result in destruction. It's confusing. It just results in its coming into being and then disappearing. Okay? So it's only the causes and the conditions that are actually disappearing and appearing. And it says the destruction, it means there is this real self, there is no destruction of this real self and no birth of this real self. And then what is pure or defiled refers to the mind. We all agree upon that, right? That's easy to understand. But the mind is essentially no mind. Because you see, we are trying to understand it with our mind. That's why it's so difficult to understand. Yeah? When you start try not to understand it with whatever mind that you have, and you start to try to see it the way it is, you will start to understand it a little bit more. And then that what is purified and what is defiled is really up to our judgment. So nothing really is pure and nothing is really defiled. It's only the way it is. Okay? So our Dharma body is pure. It's like the moon moving across the river. It doesn't leave a trace. It's neither pure nor tainted. Even there may be leaves, maybe flowers, maybe bugs on the top of the river, on the top of the water, but it will not taint the moon. Or if it is a clean water, it will not make the moon purer, cleaner. It has no blemish. It neither stain nor smudge. It cannot be destroyed and it cannot be damaged, like the reflection of the moon. As long as there is water, you will see the reflection of the moon. Even on land, you can see a reflection of the moon. But it's different. So don't look at it with your mind. Don't try to understand this with this mind. Understand it with a no-self mind. Then you'll understand it a little bit more. I found this cartoon. I like it. You cannot see the words. I'll read the words to you. What could the master be going? What did he say? Doing. On the top of the mountain. I'm going to go up there to ask him. Hello, master. Are you here to breathe in fresh air? The master said, no. No? I know. No. You want to connect to the beauty of the view? The master said, no. Then, why are you here? I'm simply here. I'm simply here. What did he say?
The response.
And to think? Mm-hmm. And to think I climb up this mountain? For this? I think this is actually a very good depiction of our mind right now. Trying to understand the Heart Sutra. Tainted nor pure, appearing or disappearing, increase or decrease. So, just the way it is. It means just the way it is. The whole thing is just the way it is. It's just arising and passing because of conditions arising and passing. It's neither tainted nor pure. It's up to our mind. It's our mind that actually judges it tainted or pure. Okay? You happy with that? You happy with this, right? I tell you, the Mahayana teachings are really quite abstract and difficult. But the more you study it, the more you read it, the more you experience through your meditation, the more you can actually recall and try to remind yourself in every life situation, hey, this is what the Buddha said, dependent origination. This is what the Buddha said, karma. This is what the Buddha said, sentient beings. This is what the Buddha said. Then you start to recall and recall. Then gradually you will understand a little bit more and more each day. Okay? Don't expect yourself to understand the whole Heart Sutra after this Heart Sutra exposition. I don't understand it completely either. You know, every time I look at it, it's different. Every time I look at it, I feel it being very different. So, you know, we can spend a whole life just studying the Heart Sutra. Please just be patient. All right? That's very optimistic too. Okay? So, something to announce is the May 20th is the work day, and May 27th is the bathing of the Buddha, and June 24th, pool for sight, the Orbis thing. So please, you can go online to Facebook or go online with this click and then donate and support and participate. Okay? All right? So that's all for this week. You have any questions? Okay, your big smile is very encouraging. Okay, so. So we bring our attention back to feel our body. Just knowing. Just knowing about this existence of this physical body right now, right here. With this experience, we allow a good thought to arise on our mind. For all the benefits that I gather tonight, may I share with all beings, human, non-human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of enmity, may they be free of miseries. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, and experience compassion and love, and be truly happy and peaceful. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, practice them, so that to disentangle themselves from all the dissatisfactions, all the sufferings, all the dukkha, and be truly happy. Can I take up a couple more minutes? When we were just doing the metta, there is an example that just came to my mind. I think that will be much easier for you to comprehend. Clouds in the sky. They are clouds. And when the clouds become so heavy, it rains. The rain, so when it rains, it seems that the clouds have decreased because it rained, but it hasn't. It turns into something else. It becomes rain. The rain falls into the river. It becomes water. And the water, if it's hot weather, it evaporates, go into the sky, becomes clouds. And if the humidity is right, or if the temperature is cold, it becomes so cold that it becomes snow. So you see the conditions that make the water become rain or snow or ice or vapor. They neither decrease nor increase. They neither appear or disappear. They are neither tainted or pure. It's just the changing phenomenon of that particular thing we call water, H2O. Does that much clearer?
Very
Great. Thank you, universe. So you can understand the whole sutra in just this example. This the whole night. I should have thought about this. And it's just such an inspiration. Just this is what I do all the time. Is after a night teaching, I always go back and just sit on the couch and sort of like think, hey, have I said something wrong? Or is there another way, or better way to put it together, to explain it a little bit clearer? And tonight it just came like this, so it's much clearer, right? So, all right, great. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Okay. So see you next week.